Well, hello, I'm Joanna with Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching. I'm here with Sarah Davis of Olive You Nanny. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Joanne.
We are here because we are partnering, promoting, and supporting Sarah, a female-owned business. She owns a boutique nanny agency that is nationwide. Did you guys hear me? Nationwide, because we know how hard it is to find amazing caregivers. And Sarah is going to tell us all about how she got into this incredible industry and how she is serving families and she is helping nannies thrive in this world of caretaking. So thank you so much, Sarah, for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So,
Okay, so Sarah's business is Olive You Nanny, and I would love to hear how you got started.
yes. Gosh, I started nannying in the summers when I was in high school. So I've always loved kids. Really, if you would have ever asked me when I was younger what I want to be when I grow up, I would always say a mom. I've always loved kids. I have three teenagers myself now, and I'm that person at a restaurant when I see a baby or a 2-year-old, I'm like, "Ooh," like I just have always been that way. So started nannying in the summers. And then I decided that I wanted to be a nanny full time. I moved out to San Francisco and I had my first long-term nanny position. So I was there, nannied in San Francisco for about 2 years, moved to Denver, nannied there as well, and then ended up in Chicago and nannied in Chicago as well. So I had been a nanny for quite a number of years, and I decided that I wanted to make a real career out of being in the nanny industry. And I had worked with a couple of agencies in Chicago, and I just thought to myself, I can do better than this. So I really, learned a lot in the beginning phases of the business. The first 5 years, I was young. I was 24 when I started the company. And so it was a little intimidating because I'd be meeting with these families in their homes and I wasn't a mom yet. And, they were looking at me like, oh my gosh, you were like so young. I remember one time a family had said to me, do you want a glass of wine? She's like, wait, are you old enough to drink wine? And I was, but that was the big sort of the beginning of, putting myself out there and saying, I know a lot about this industry and I can point you in the right direction and help you find quality people.
Amazing. And I know that, now you've been in this industry 25 years and you really are kind of a boutique agency in the sense that you pride yourself on getting to know both your families and your nanny population. So at 25 years, you guys, she has a pool of nannies that she's been working with year after year after year after year in all these different cities, which is so exciting. So can you tell us a little bit more about why you do what you do and what you've kind of grown into as a businesswoman from that, young 24-year-old that said, I can do it better, to a woman that's owning, a nationwide company?
Yeah. So the reason why I continue to do what I do and have thrived, I believe, is that I really care a lot about a personality and a personal connection. So when we go and do consultations with our families, we really kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of who they are and what kind of personalities do they have. So oftentimes I will do consultations with a couple and I will say, okay, well, both of you tell me about each other so that I can learn a little bit more about what that person's really like. And, and you can just see the connection between the parents at that point too. Like if I recently had a dad, he's like, oh, she's so smart and she's so sweet and she's her personality. And they were like, oh, and I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that. And on the flip side of that, though, I have done consultations with families that are completely disconnected. And I need to know that either way, like no judgment, but I need to know sort of what that environment is going to look like and
Mhm.
what kind of candidate would do well in that environment. So to me, it's just really important to understand who I'm working with. And therefore, I'm kind of like a people reader. I just read people for a living and I match them together, also like a matchmaker. And then on the nanny side of things, it's kind of similar where I'm like, doing an interview with them and tell me about yourself. Okay, well, what do you do on the weekends? Well, where does your family live? Do you have brothers and sisters? Are you close to them? So questions that maybe wouldn't be necessarily interview questions that you would ask people. I really try to get to know more about them so that I can connect them together.
Right, exactly. And that personal connection is so important when you, like you said, you're people reading the parents, you're people reading the nanny, and then you're looking to build the connection between
Yep.
the two,
Yep.
which brings the people reading and the matchmaking together, which is so important because that's the trick. It's right. It's not just being able to just interview somebody and say, oh, well, she's a nanny and I interview or it will work. It's not like that. Like you said, like if the family the parents are a little disconnected, there's got to be a special type of nanny that can maybe help bring some unity or can neutralize or whatever it may be, right? So that it becomes a harmonious arrangement, and with the child at the forefront. So I love that. So obviously, just like me, we work with a lot of first time parents. And I know that finding reliable, loving, attentive care for their child is their number one concern, after getting good sleep,
Of course.
right? They have time to make better decisions
Yeah.
after they are no longer sleep deprived because they've gotten help with their sleep support. So
They're
anyway,
in the right
so
position. They're in the right position to make the right decision.
right, exactly, exactly. So what are you finding now? Again, you've been in this business industry for like 25 years. What have you been seeing in the recent like 2 to 3 year time span that first time families need to know and understand about the world of caregiving and finding good care?
Yes. So I will. So the last couple of years, so real quick, just pre-COVID versus post-COVID. Pre-COVID, nannies were pretty easy to find and, they were at a pretty reasonable market rate. Post-COVID, it's just more of a nanny's world and nannies cost a little bit more. Nannies are getting incentive bonuses, like things have just shifted. So I would say if you're a first-time parent, look at the rate where you live because it really does depend. So let's say, because Joanna, you're in San Diego, rates are higher in San Diego. But if you're thinking somewhere like a smaller city, the rates won't be as high. So definitely look in your, general area and see what those rates are. I can, of course, help anybody with figuring that out. And then you want to make sure that you are quick if you're working, well, if you're interviewing any nanny, really, because good nannies go so fast. So
Right.
I will work with families and then families will ask me, well, how long does this process take? I'm like, that's really up to you because I interview quality candidates often and they're in our portal system. And once we get an idea of who you guys are and we do a consultation, we can send you candidates within 24 hours.
Amazing.
So if families will say, oh, go slower, I'm not available this week to interview, but maybe next week, those candidates are gone. So it's like, all right, if that's the case, we're going to start the search next week because the candidate pool changes so quickly.
So quickly.
So knowing that is a really big deal. And then also knowing just, expectations around what is standard, so vacation time and holidays and benefits and taxes and all that kind of stuff. We make sure that all of that is in line. And when we work with our families, we kind of go through that entire list together.
Okay, that is so important because sometimes again, as a first time parent, you quite literally don't know what you don't know. And to be able to work one-on-one with you and your colleagues to be properly educated, so that you can make a good decision, I think that's worth its weight in gold.
Yes.
So on that note, can you tell me a little bit more about how your nanny agency kind of differentiates itself in the marketplace, and what your process is like that so people can kind of have a better sense of what it could look like versus what they might actually see in the marketplace because there's a big distinction between. Yes, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, there definitely is. So, to your point a little while ago, Joanna, when you mentioned, not one person is the right fit for everyone, that is just so incredibly true. Sometimes I'll get families that call and say, oh, well, we're going to actually meet our neighbor's nanny. And they think just automatically that, oh, that person will be great and we'll have that person work with our family. but not taking into consideration the personality differences, the parenting style differences. You know, you could have one family that's very type A and wants schedule, 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 and then you can have another family be more arty and want to do art projects on the floor and get dirty and be in the mud, and who cares, we're creative, you know. So kind of just really realizing that not there's someone for everyone, but not everyone's a fit for every family.
Such a good point. Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't assume that your friend Jane's nanny is going to be a perfect fit for you. Yeah.
exactly.
I've had that. I've been down that road. It was like, oh, she's available. That will work great. Just
Yeah,
because she's available, as if that's the only criteria. And that's the thing, you guys, is that it's a person, it's just having someone in your home that is going to be spending time with your child and that you're going to be communicating with all the time. And
yep,
hopefully laughing and sharing and getting to know each other and having a beautiful relationship, a professional yet engaged relationship. And
yeah.
just because she's available on Tuesdays doesn't mean that that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's just so true. And I think if parents know that from the get-go and take the time and money really to invest in having the right nanny, it
Yes.
saves you so much down the road. So it's like we can set you up with, you know, a qualified person who fits really well with your family. And yes, there are costs to that, but down the line, if you have that person for the next couple of years or whatever it might be, it's just definitely worth it because you see a lot of turnover. If you go, you know, to your question earlier, if you go, let's say, a search online, so care.com or whatever it might be, and you do your own search, it's going to take a little longer. It's a needle in a haystack. You have to interview and people don't show up, and people say they have 10 years of experience, but they're only 20. And so it's trying to, and you can certainly do that, but it takes a lot of time. And for us, we know the questions to ask. We know the references that aren't real. We know if we've seen that person posting on a group, let's say on Facebook or something for the last 6 months, and they still haven't found a job yet. I know that. But when you're doing it on your own
You
and
would
you're like,
not know
oh,
that.
I just found this Facebook page of nannies and this person looks great, you just don't know. You don't
Don't
have the
know.
experience and nor do you have the time to be sifting through all these different people. So for us, we take a really personal approach. We're very hand-holding. We go through the whole process with you, make sure that you are finding the quality candidates that are a good fit for your family. And oftentimes I'll talk to parents and I'll say, okay, what I'm hearing is this. And I think based on that, that you need this, this, and this. And they're like,
Mhm.
oh, we haven't even thought about that. So
Yep.
that's sort of what you get when you work with us.
Right. And so, it's like this, you guys, like caretaking, finding a well-matched caregiver is quite literally life-changing. Some of you guys know I have a daughter in college. So I have been through 20 years worth of, or whenever you stop babysitting. So 15 years worth of nannies. And I can tell you that I have had two in my life that were so exceptional that we are close. I get Christmas cards. They get my Christmas card. We text each other. We adore each other. I know when their kids get married. I know when that kid had a grandchild, like whatever it is, like we are in each other's lives in this lifelong way that is so beautiful.
Yep.
And, when you are working with a professional agency, that is what is available to you. Um, and so I feel like maybe you could tell us even a little bit more about how you make that match happen. Like, what are all the steps you're taking on my behalf that I don't have to take so that I end up getting that amazing result?
Yep. So first step is always a typically like 5-10 minute chat where, you know, families will call in or send an email or whatever. And I say, let's jump on the phone real quick, talk about what you're looking for and make sure that we're a good fit. So, you know, sometimes there's families that have expectations that are not in line with the industry. And so it's like, okay, well, we can either go through that together, or if you want to work with someone else, that's fine too. But so we do a little chat, and then the family would fill out an application, or the nanny would fill out an application in our portal system. So then we can attach candidates to that system. Super easy. You can see on the nanny's profile, there's the picture, there's all of the information, reference notes,
Oh, good.
education information, everything, all their families that they've worked for, everything that you could ever want. Is on there. And then we schedule a consultation. So we do a Zoom consultation. It's typically about an hour long or so. And we walk through the whole process with you. So we talk a little bit about who you are, what you're looking for, who the best fit's going to be for your family, and just hear more about, your day in, day out, what you guys do, what your schedules look like, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. And then you said that because you have a very rich pool of nannies that are
Yep.
ready and available, that when a family goes through the consultation, then you can say, okay, look, I have already in mind like 2 or 3 candidates I think would be great to interview. And then
Yep.
that family gets kind of almost instantaneous affirmation
Yes.
that they've been heard and that
Yeah.
the right candidates are showing up, versus what might you see at with other agencies? Like, what do other agencies typically do so that
Yeah.
they can see the comparison between the way you guys do it and the way that they might find it in the marketplace?
Yes. So oftentimes, and do your due diligence for sure when choosing a nanny agency, because there are plenty of agencies that just pop up for a couple of years and then they're not there anymore. So make sure you're going with an agency that has experience, has been doing this for a long period of time. And then it depends too on your personality style. So for us, we like to have a very personalized process. So, like, again, hand holding, any question that you might have, it doesn't even matter what it is. Like anything, I mean, really, even just mom related. I'll answer any mom questions too. But
Right.
anything related to do with childcare, or I have families that will call me. I placed a nanny with them years ago, and they'll call me and say, "What about a holiday bonus?" Or "We're having another baby. What should we do for a raise?" Or some of these kind of standard type questions. But we're just, in a long way to put it, we're just there for you kind of indefinitely while you're
Mhm,
going through this journey of having a caregiver in your home.
mhm.
A lot of the other agencies you'll have a quick conversation, and a lot of them don't even do a video and don't really get to know you as well. And they'll throw 20 resumes at you and say, okay, we have these 20 candidates, here are the resumes. You go ahead and reach out to these candidates if you want to meet with them. So we do not do that. We will schedule the interviews, whether it's a Zoom first and then an in-person and then a trial, so that
Wow.
we take care of absolutely everything for you. So from the moment you call us, all you're doing is jumping on a Zoom with us, chatting, and people are coming and showing up that are going to be a good fit for you.
That's amazing. And then also, what I also think is amazing is, again, like kind of this hold my hand experience that you're providing, is that once the nanny is placed, you also have kind of a what's it called, a replacement time frame.
Yep, we do.
Can you explain that?
Yep. So the
Yeah.
replacement process is we have 3 different packages that we offer. And by the way, all of our fees are the same for everywhere and nationwide. So we don't, go up and down with our fees at all.
Right.
Um, but the replacement is either a 60-day replacement, 90-day, or 120-day replacement based on the package that you pick. So depending on what your position is, if you're a new parent and you're hiring a nanny for your baby, you probably don't need all the extra insurance of a replacement because it's a pretty straightforward position. And we would find you somebody who wants a long-term with an infant to grow with your family. But yeah, it's super important just, in looking for an agency, that you find somebody who does have a replacement guarantee, and then read the fine print of what that means, because is it one person, or is it as soon as they find the right person?
Right, exactly. So yes, so fine print, everybody that's considering, first of all, I hope you just call Sarah Davis at Olive You Nanny. I think that you would save yourself tremendous headache and effort. Um, but if you feel like you're going to kind of do it the hard way, um, careful consideration and probably getting flooded with a lot of people that you'll call them and they won't call you back, right? Yeah. Exactly. Okay, so now as kind of part of the WO3 is I'm giving an opportunity for Sarah to shout out something that she's working on, that she's excited, that she wants to promote and let us all know about. And then after that, we're going to give her an opportunity to shout out some other female-owned businesses that she admires. Okay, ready to shine, Sarah? What do you got
Yes.
cooking?
So shout out. So I just started the Ask the Expert series for Olive You Nanny, and we're doing kind of two Ask the Experts. So one of them are experts in the industry. So whether it be a doula business, a sleep coaching business, which I will have Joanne on, or just any in the industry interviews with experts. And then we are also doing a series with our nannies. So we talk to nannies about what is it really like and what's the do's and don'ts for a family. And also what is it like to travel with a family? What, they fill you with a ton of information. So I'm really excited to bring that series, and we're have a YouTube channel, and it's Olive You Nanny Agency. Also on our website, you can find a ton of articles and videos and all of that as well.
Yes, and in the show notes, we'll have all of that for you. So if you need a fast way to get in contact with Sarah, and then also to get start watching her YouTube channel, because I think it is great to get the nanny's perspective, because the more you understand what they're looking for, the more you can kind of build that connection with them. All right, so now we get to shout out two other female entrepreneurs that you admire.
Yeah. So my first one is going to be Sarah, who is the Modern Nanny on Instagram. And I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, and I was just super impressed about the level of expertise she has in the nanny industry. So she is a nanny, she has a degree, and she just came up with put out a census report that goes through, I think she had, I guess it was 2,000 nannies fill out this survey, and it's the real rates across the country. And it's just really, really good information. And the thought that she puts into that, and just her Instagram page is just very, very inspiring, I think, for nannies, and educational too, even for me, even though I've been in the industry forever. So I loved talking with her, and she'll be on our YouTube channel too, so you can watch that interview.
Okay,
And then my other two people that I just always love is Whitney Wolf Hurd. I've always admired her. She's the founder of Bumble. And because it's all about matchmaking and women, that just always really inspires me. And she lives also in Austin. And
Oh, I
so,
didn't know that. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, great.
she had a couple of programs at the headquarters here, that classes and things for women entrepreneurs that I attended. And I'm always just really inspired by her. And then, of course, Sarah Blakely. And I probably don't need to say anything more about that because she's kind of the bomb.
Yep, the Spanx.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what a Spanx is, right? We all have probably at least one, if not more, in our drawer somewhere. So yes. So Sarah, thank you so much for being here and telling us all about your amazing women-owned business, and how you started with bravery, and you grew and you grew and you grew, and 25 years later, you're still here providing services for families and for nannies. A really wonderful work environment, and also staying abreast of the industry and staying connected in that way, I think is so amazing. And so just a reminder, everybody, that WO3 Day is on Saturday, March 30th. And it is your one chance in the month of March, or on March 30th, to think of creative ways that do not require money to partner, promote, and support any female-owned business that you know. Write them a review, go like their social media, go watch something on Sarah's YouTube, comment on her YouTube, tell a friend that's looking for a nanny that Sarah Davis has nationwide nanny services, right? It's so easy to partner, promote, and support a female-owned business. And we're doing this grassroots effort to bring this to the light. One day, we hope this is going to be so synonymous as Small Business Saturday. Because remember, a long time ago, that the whole concept of Small Business Saturday was like, oh, wow, what a great idea during the holidays, Small Business Saturday. Let's go out and look around and see what kind of small businesses we can promote. This
Yep.
is kind of the same thing. We're hoping to grow this grassroots effort so that is in the month of March, it becomes totally obvious to you to kind of have your eyes wide open and think, okay, how can I, in the kindest non-monetary way, because it doesn't require money, to partner, promote, and support a woman-owned business. It's just referrals, word of mouth, and all that good stuff. So that's what we're doing here on Blissful Baby Sleep Coaching in the month of March. And I'm just delighted that I got to have this conversation with Sarah, who's doing such important work in the world.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joanna. I appreciate it. And if anybody has any questions or just information or anything like that, please just reach out to me.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Thank you.